was the most extraordinary man I ever knew.
We arrive in Cairo in 1916, the headquarters of the British Command in the Middle East. Lawrence is working as a young officer in the mapping department, known for his intelligence and his vast knowledge about the Arabs, but controversial among his colleagues due to his eccentric style and his strict refusal of traditional discipline. One of the British commanders notices his skills and summons him for a private meeting. During the conversation, he tests his knowledge of the Arab tribes and the political situation, discovering that Lawrence possesses an exceptional ability to understand the nature of the region and its people. At that moment, he makes a decisive decision to assign Lawrence a special mission to travel to the Arabian Peninsula, meet Prince Faisal, and assess the possibility of supporting the Arab revolt against the Ottomans. Without hesitation, Lawrence prepares for the adventure. During his journey, he meets a Bedouin guide who will lead him to Faisal's camp, marking the first real steps of Lawrence into a world that will change his life forever. Lawrence ventures deeper into the desert, just a tiny speck in a vast sea of sand, yet inside him grows an unshakable feeling that this land will determine his destiny. After days of traveling through the Egyptian desert, Lawrence, accompanied by his Bedouin guide, arrives at a water well in the middle of the sands. The scene is calm until the footsteps of an approaching camel break the silence. A man dressed in black draws near, his features sharp and his eyes cautious. He is Ali ibn al-Sharif, one of the prominent tribal leaders. Without a word, he shoots the guide who was with Lawrence, claiming that the man had entered forbidden land belonging to his tribe. Lawrence, despite his shock, remains calm and begins a brief conversation with Ali. Despite the tension, mutual respect emerges between them. As the sun rises, Lawrence arrives alone at the camp, tents spread out, horses tied, and fighters moving swiftly among the ranks of men. Lawrence meets Prince Faisal for the first time, a man with a commanding presence and dignified features who speaks of the Arabs' dream of liberation from Ottoman rule. During the meeting, Lawrence proposes a bold plan. Instead of a direct attack on Damascus or Medina, he suggests striking Aqaba, the coastal city the Ottomans believed to be fortified from the sea, but not from the desert. Prince Faisal hesitates, but Lawrence's enthusiasm and determination make the idea worth trying. Lawrence leaves the camp knowing that this plan will put him up against the greatest challenge of his life, crossing a harsh desert to carry out an attack that seems impossible. The caravan sets out in the early hours of dawn, camels loaded with water and food, the fighters wrapped in silence, aware that the journey will test their patience and strength. The heat of the sun grows as the hours pass and the sands stretch endlessly, as if they are moving through a golden sea with no shore. At night, they stop to rest. The sky is studded with stars and the cold wraps around the desert, while Lawrence meets with tribal leaders to plan the next stage. Everyone knows the hardest part is yet to come. The road is still long and water is scarce. With the first light of dawn, the caravan moves again, exhaustion etched on everyone's faces, but the spark of determination in Lawrence's eyes makes it clear that he is resolved to reach Aqaba no matter the cost. After days of exhausting travel through the desert, the caravan reaches the outskirts of the Aqaba region. The scorching sands gradually give way to more rocky terrain, and though the men are weary, they draw strength from the thought of the imminent victory. Lawrence stands before the tribal leaders, laying out his plan of attack. Attack the city from the desert side where the Ottomans expect no threat. Strike the defensive positions with swift force before the soldiers can organize their lines. At the first light of dawn, the assault begins. The neighing of horses and the battle cries of the Arab fighters fill the air. The Ottoman soldiers stationed to defend the coast are taken by surprise by the sudden land attack. The battle is swift and decisive, ending with Lawrence's forces taking control of the city. Knew this victory was only the beginning of a far more complicated chapter in his journey. After the fall of Aqaba, Lawrence's name was on everyone's lips, from tribal leaders to the British command in Cairo to the Arabs. He was a hero and a leader to the British. He was a winning card in securing their interests in the Middle East. Lawrence returned to Cairo bearing news of victory, but the reception there was far from the jubilation of the desert. The British officers admired his achievement, yet they also spoke of complex political arrangements that would divide the land among the great powers after the war. Doubt began to creep into his heart. Was the Arab revolt truly for Arab freedom, or was it part of a much larger political game? Over time, Lawrence's features began to change. The young officer, once full of enthusiasm, had become a weary man, burdened by war and politics. The victories he had achieved with the Arabs were no longer enough to ease his heart, especially now that he could clearly see how the great powers were manipulating the fate of the Middle East. His disappointment deepened as the British and French began drawing new borders for the region with no regard for the promises of freedom made to the Arabs. Lawrence, who had dreamed of a noble alliance between peoples, now found himself a witness to the beginning of a political betrayal. so as not to keep you for too long after the great victories Lawrence achieved with the Arabs. He eventually returned to England, a changed man burdened with disappointment. He had seen with his own eyes how dreams of freedom were lost amid political calculations and the division of influence between the great powers. The images of the desert and the victories remained etched in his memory, but the wound of betrayal ran deeper than any triumph. And finally, if you enjoyed the story and the narration of events, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our captivating historical tales.